What is going on, Panthers fans? Welcome back to another episode of MIA, Miami in Action. Tonight, the Panthers versus the Lightning with a final score of 3-2 in overtime. The Lightning taking this one. Oh, man, this pains me. This game right here just really frustrated me. Let's go ahead and dive into this game. First and foremost, this is our first time playing the Lightning this year. Obviously, second home game of the year. This one aired on ESPN Plus. Definitely got some things to talk about with ESPN Plus, but we'll get to that. One other thing before this game, the Panthers did come out saying that they signed Eric Staal to a 1-year, $750,000 contract. Really curious. Eric Staal used to play under Paul Maurice, so obviously there is some history to that. I know a lot of articles kind of really talk about obviously his leadership. He's a veteran. He's been in the league many, many years. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I do not know how this fits into what's going on with our cap situation, if I'm being real with you. So, I'm really kind of curious to see why the move on that was, considering I'm assuming that we feel 100% comfortable with everybody we got, but maybe somebody like a Nick Cousins or something like that playing on that fourth line, maybe they decide to stick like an Eric Staal every once in a while. That would be my first thought. So I guess we'll kind of see with that. Also, Montour came back in this game. Plays on the first defensive pairing with Forsling. Good to have Montour back. Definitely played a hell of a game. We'll get into that though as well too. And obviously just first game of the year against the Lightning. We know what our opponent is. We know who the coach is. We understand what's going on here, right? Made it deep once again into the playoffs last year. Lost a couple bodies, but they still got, in my opinion, the best goalie in the league and probably will be the best goalie to ever play in the league, in Vasilevsky. So, it's anytime you play the Lightning, no matter how deteriorated they are, that game's going to be serious. Obviously, losing overtime 3-2 hurt. So we'll go ahead and just kind of get into it. First period, right? Stamkos gets a power play goal. You see one of the Panthers players, I want to say it was like Lusterinen, but I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really paying attention, but one of the Panthers player broke its stick, kind of allowed Stamkos to really kind of creep up in there, take a take a crazy slap shot and get us off started with a goal there, down 1-0. The Lightning have always really been, they've always been solid in the power play. If there's anything that we could learn from the Lightning, obviously the way they play in the playoffs, but if there's anything else we can learn, it's literally their power play. Our power play has still been an issue and still was an issue tonight, but their power play is definitely what keeps them in these games for sure. And they've always been pretty good 5-on-5, but the power play has been a pretty automatic if you give them the chance. And tonight, both teams, because of the officiating, really got a lot of power play chances, which, I guess that's just the way the game's being called. Later, towards the end of the first, Matthew Tkachuk gets a phenomenal backhand pass from Montour. It looked like he hit that mid-air, standing right in front of Vasilevsky, right on the line. Kind of just gets around the defense, gets in the right position for a couple seconds, and Montour skating up the left side, just backhands a nasty shot, probably about like 2 feet in the air, and Tkachuk just slaps it right in past Vasilevsky. Amazing goal. Once again, Matthew Tkachuk getting something done, really making us as Panthers fans and the coaching staff and Bill Zitto understand why we went and got him and traded for him. So amazing goal. Kind of kept us in the game there, right? Obviously ended the period 1-1. In the second period, Balcers got a great little rebound backhand pass off of a face-off. I think Bennett took the face-off. It kind of did a weird bounce off of Tkachuk. Tkachuk kind of threw it in front of the net, and I want to say it went off of Vasilevsky, and Balcers was right there, man. Balcers, I think, is playing phenomenal. That line is definitely the top line on our team. Unfortunately, right? And what I mean by unfortunately is, that top line once again, Verhaeghe, Barkov, and Reinhart are literally, at this point, I'm ready to call the police and put in a missing line report, because literally they're nowhere to be found. But yeah, Balcer's goal was crazy. Great goal. Put us up 2-1. Was the only goal of the second period, but overall I thought that was a great goal. Balcer's really kind of coming in and really being that top new guy, if you will. I want to say Balcers has I don't know how many goals he has. What does he have? Like 2 or 3 goals now? But looked great. And ended the period on a good note. Third period, not really much going on. I thought the Panthers, they looked flat, honestly. They didn't really look like they could get anything going. Looked like there wasn't much chemistry, even from our top lines. A lot of bad passes, a lot of dumps. There was a situation where I think it was Colin White was going up the side and had someone in the middle and pretty open and could have made the pass, but just kept dumping it around the boards and completely missed an opportunity. And I think a lot of that is kind of just like chemistry, but was really kind of disappointed. But in the third period, Braden Point off an easy goal. I forgot who shot it. I think it was I forgot who it was on the Lightning team, but shot it. Easy deflection. Two of their players were in front of the net, and only one of our guys was covering one of them. And the other guy was, who knows where he was. He was in no man's land. I don't understand what is going on in the defense when it comes to staying with somebody in front of the net and making sure that we are not allowing the puck to hit anybody's stick who is in front of our goalie. I really don't understand that. But in the third period, I thought our chemistry looked off. I thought we were flat. I thought Bobrovsky kept us in the game in the third period. And then, of course, we went into overtime. From overtime, Lightning really kind of took most of the control. And then what led to, Matthew Tkachuk was skating really hard. Definitely kind of trying to stay with his man. Got caught kind of flat-footed a little bit. And they had a nice little lead pass to one of the Lightning players for a breakaway, and Tkachuk slashed him. He was definitely behind the 8 ball when it came to that play, and definitely the other guy had a foot in front of him. Kucherov had a foot in front of him on a breakaway, and just an unfortunate penalty. Afterwards, you see a little back and forth in the boards after the penalty. But just really unfortunate play. Looked like Tkachuk was gassed. Obviously trying to prevent the goal right off the bat. Rather would take the penalty than give up the goal straight up, which I can understand, but just really unfortunate that we had to take a pretty dumb penalty like that. Then we go into a 4-on-3 situation where the Lightning had 4 versus our 3, and Braden Point sitting in the middle right in front of Borowski was literally all day long. I mean, Gudas literally crawled over to Braden Point, and Braden Point was able to dribble the puck a good couple times before he shot it, and ultimately it went in and we lost. So pretty disappointing there. Would have loved to have seen, our once again our defensive guy stay home, and really make sure that that's their signature move right there is a little side pass off into the corner, and then they're looking for the middle pass right in front of the net. Really no excuse why we shouldn't be ready for that. And Gudas got there late, and they went in. So obviously very unfortunate that we had to go down in our home ice. Second game, 3-2 against the Lightning. Obviously the Lightning not playing too well, coming off some struggling games, really needing. Not really. I heard the commentator say that this was the first time they've been down like 1-3 in the beginning of a season since Stamkos' rookie season. So it just goes to show you how good of a start the Lightning generally get off to. But was really looking forward to us to continue our momentum from last game. But I'll be honest with you, from my viewpoint of that third period, we could have went down 2 goals right there easily, in my opinion. I thought we played like crap. So overall, just wanted to kind of note quite a few things, and then I kind of wanted to get into something big towards the end. Something I've been kind of brewing, something that you're probably going to hear from me quite a bit. And the last part of this conversation is probably not going to be a popular one. So overall, let's just start off with this. Game was on ESPN Plus. The last game was on TNT. TNT does a great job. Okay, we'll give them that. Love the intermission team, the pregame team, postgame team. Commentators are definitely a lot better. But the ESPN Plus hockey stuff is complete horrible rubble. I mean, just horrible. Okay, like one commentator, as much as I love that guy, I think it's Butchergross or whatever that guy's name is. I love that guy as a person and for him working for ESPN, but as a hockey commentator, please God, never again, please. I thought the ESPN coverage was horrendous. Also, did anybody notice that every time they cut the camera from the main view to like a on the surface zoomed in view, that it was like delayed? On TV it was delayed, and you would see it happen, and then it would cut back to the big shot, and then you would see it happen for like a second. Did anybody else notice that? If so, let me know in the comments, or on this podcast. Let me know, let me know on the social medias. But man, I really thought that I thought that the video was off, man. It just looked horrible. I thought only having one commentator was horrible. You could really tell that commentator didn't, really know what he was talking about. The guy they had in between the boards had to correct the commentator multiple times. Saying about Forsling, they need to lock him up earlier and sooner. And he's only making $2.5 million a year. And then the guy down at the ice had to correct him and be like, well, they can't do anything until July of his last year of his contract. Just a lot of like awkwardness, just only having one commentator. There wasn't consistent conversation. It wasn't like high IQ hockey conversation. I thought the ESPN Plus stuff was horrendous, and I get it. We're gonna get a couple more primetime games this year, but please God, go back to Valley Sports. Give me some Goldie, give me some Red Deer. Give me our commentators back, and I think most people would probably agree with me. But let me know what you guys think. One thing, and I pointed this out in my last video, but another thing another thing I really continue to notice, and I think is a very underrated stat, is our face-off percentage. Now tonight, I did see that we were leading for a while, but our face-off percentage ended up being 47%. It was 32 face-offs won for us versus 36 won for the Lightning. We have only, I think in my last video I said we've only won one face-off overall in one night. I think that's correct, or maybe two. But if we can't win the face-offs, don't get me wrong, it's not as big as some other things, some other stats in this league, but winning the face-offs is a huge deal. And I think this is something that nobody is really talking about. I think that, on the power play, winning the face-off is a huge deal on the power play. What were the commentators saying? That we had five power play opportunities and went 0 for 5, and I think we're like 0 for 10. So clearly the power play is still an issue. And I thought the penalty kill looked good. Obviously we were able to hold them off. We played very, very pretty disciplined penalty kill until the end, obviously, when it really, really mattered. But I thought overall our penalty kill looked pretty good. I thought Tkachuk looked really good, obviously getting that goal, getting an assist as well. I thought he looked really good. But I know that we know as Panthers fans what kind of player he was coming onto this team, right? This guy is somebody who's going to ruffle people's skin, ruffle under their feathers, whatever the term is, get under people's skin, obviously get them kind of maybe out of their game, but ultimately making it happen, scoring, assists, yada, yada, yada. Don't get me wrong. He had a goal tonight. He had an assist. He definitely was a difference maker. But I think the one thing that we need to keep an eye on is the fact that this man is getting senseless penalties, very senseless penalties, right? And you think about like the Panthers last year, but really like the year before, we had a lot of players getting a lot of dumb penalties. And I mean, he definitely seems decently disciplined, especially when there's like little skirmishes after a whistle or in front of the goalie or whatever. But man, that last penalty unfortunately really cost us. It really cost us, and I get it. You got to kind of take the odds there, and the odds is that you hope that your penalty that you're going to end up taking is enough to make them miss the shot, and obviously try and just play the power play and hopefully, or the penalty kill, and kill off the penalty. But man, he was so far in front of him that you could literally tell that it was kind of like a, oh God, I messed up, let me just whack him type of thing. Like I don't know. That might be kind of something that maybe somebody else can kind of have a little opinion on. But I just think the penalty at that point, he was so far behind Kucherov that it was pretty much worthless. They might as well just let Bobrovsky try and block it and figure it out from there. If we lose, we lose. It is what it is. And one more thing about Kucherov, and Obviously the goals are great, the assists are great. He's getting in on the play, he's taking shots. The only thing I do want to give Huberdeau credit is his discipline when it comes to penalties and stuff like that. That was the one thing I will say that, yeah, of course, he's a hockey player. He's going to get a penalty here and there. But I think he was pretty disciplined when it came to, not taking dumb penalties. And just kind of something to kind of watch with Tkachuk. I like that he gets under people's skin. I like that he's not a sit-back guy and does nothing. But I think we could find a little bit more balance with Tkachuk. And I think Huberdeau had a better balance of that. But obviously, I'm happy with where we're at overall. Mark Staal. I thought Mark Staal looked horrendous. 4-on-5, I thought he looked flat-footed. This man was getting the workaround. I mean, just getting spun around in circles. Couldn't really get his feet. I know a lot of other Panthers, podcasts and stuff are talking about this is one of Paul Maurice's guys. He plays on the penalty kill. He's not going anywhere. But man, that's tough. That's tough, man. Listen, Paul Maurice is gonna live or die by guys like that. Those are the guys that it's just kind of one of his guys, and it doesn't matter how bad he plays, he's gonna end up playing on this team. And don't be surprised if Eric Staal is the same way. I hope not, but don't be surprised. But those are the type of guys that live or die, that have that make or break those coaches. Those type of players right there. The players who get the minutes not because they necessarily deserve it, but they feel like they have something that they had 5 years ago, and hopefully it's there still. But we'll see with Eric Staal. But Mark Staal, I thought looked horrible. I thought he looked like he was getting the workaround. Man, I would much rather us get burnt by a young kid like a Carlson than I would an Eric Staal. As much as veteran leadership is appreciated, that's tough. That's a tough call. Montour. So I thought Montour looked really good. I thought he looked really aggressive, very physical. Saw a lot of good hits tonight. Really kind of coming in there and making his presence known. Definitely looked solid. Looked fast. Getting back on defense really well, especially when he was pushed up in the plays. Once again, though, really, really solid. He was +1 tonight with 2 assists, so obviously making an impact there as well, too. I was really impressed with Montour. I thought he played great. I thought Forsling looked really good as well. Once again, obviously Forsling is becoming the rock of this defense, especially because Ekblad can't keep himself out of injuries. I think Forsling is our most rock solid defenseman that we have, which is very unfortunate in the sense of this guy is a guy that we kind of picked up and obviously molded him into what he is today, and he's done a hell of a job. But it's really unfortunate that Ekblad continues to get hurt, and we just have more issues on defense. Barkov in that first line, once again, literally MIA. I mean, I literally was looking up a non-emergency number for the local police office to report a missing persons, because literally Barkov in that first line, I don't know where they're at. I don't know where they're at. And, I know that coaches going in overtime a lot of times will roll with the hot line. But the fact that they put Tkachuk and Bennett out right off the bat, once again, it could be because they were kind of moving better than Barkov, but it's very sad to see that your captain and your top line aren't the first team out on the ice in overtime. I think I don't know. And I know, and listen, I know before anybody says anything, I know Barkov took that hard hit, obviously came back out, showed a lot of courage, a lot of mental strength on that. But Barkov had 25 minutes on the ice tonight, the most by any Panther player, I believe, at least offensive lineman. But 25 minutes on the ice, and so far through 5 games, you would have never sold me if he was on the team still. I would have never guessed. Looking at the stat sheet, you would never have thought he's played in any of these games so far. Another thing too, now I know that the refs seem to be calling this game pretty heavily. Definitely wanted their hand in the pot this game. But the Panthers had 9 penalties tonight. 9 penalties. A lot of interference penalties. Roughing, trippings. Bennett had 2 trips. We as a team need to recognize that and need to make sure that we're playing disciplined hockey. I think the Lightning had 7 penalties overall, but man, we gotta tighten that up. Way too many penalties. It was like every couple minutes there was a penalty on someone. So I thought 9 penalties is way too much. It's like in football, turnovers and penalties in general. Those things lose you games. Not playing defense and penalties also lose you games as well. I thought we looked very one-dimensional tonight. I thought we looked one-dimensional. I couldn't tell what kind of system we were playing. And I know it's 5 games in. We're still trying to figure out the system and everything like that. But, oh, my gosh. I just hope we get it figured out. I really do. And just to kind of bring this up again, not to really beat the horse on it because it is what it is. But, man, Gudas on that last play with Point, I mean, like he was over in the corner getting a cup of coffee and then was like, oh shoot, I guess they're down in our area, let me go back over there, and he crawls over there. Like, you gotta get on him, man. You gotta get a body. I understand you only got 3, but you gotta know that when they pass it down to the guy in the corner before the middle pass, that it's coming to the middle. That's their signature play, power play move. So we have to understand and make sure that we're watching the film on this stuff. I mean, I want to go back and watch it because I want to know where he was at before the last pass when it was in the corner. I want to know where Gudas was because he definitely wasn't on the guy in the middle like he should have been. Okay. So I want to kind of keep these podcasts and videos pretty short, but I do want to bring up something pretty controversial, and it's been kind of sitting on me for a while, and I've been watching these first 5 games, and here's what I think. And in the comments or on my socials, right? First off, my social medias, we're on Twitter, Miami in Action, Instagram, Miami.in.action, Apple Podcasts, Miami in Action, YouTube, Miami in Action. So let me just get all my socials out of the way right now. Come drop a follow. Come say what's up. Tell me where you're from. But let me get into this, and anybody who wants to chime in, please feel free to comment. I am gonna say this, and I will go back and quote myself on this. And if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong about this. Okay? I think personally that it is time to see what we could get for Barkov. I think it's time. And I know it's only 5 games in, but this isn't just about these 5 games. This is about the last couple years, if I'm being honest with you. Has these first 5 games been a pretty big factor in this statement? Yes, don't get me wrong, but it's not all just this season. Okay, so let me just start off by saying that. But I really do think it's time that we think about trading Barkov. I think it's time. I think a couple things with this, and I wrote some stuff down. I think, first off, I think you get what you can get in his prime. The fact that Tkachuk is coming in and making Barkov look like a third line center is very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Literally been MIA. The man cannot gel with anybody, which to me, a captain should be able to gel with anybody, let alone one of the top players in the league. He's got great stick skill, but man, it's very sad when you are the captain and you're not the one at the referee with Stamkos also to the referee when there is big time penalty situations and they're trying to determine who's going in the box for what team and how many minutes and stuff like that. It's very sad to see that Hornqvist is the one going over there and not Barkov. I mean, you are the captain. So, you know, you're sending another guy over there to do your job. Stamkos is over there with the ref. Why aren't you out there? Why aren't you out there with him? And if that's the case, why isn't Hornqvist have the C? Just give Hornqvist the C and give Barkov an A. I'm totally fine with Barkov getting an A, but Barkov should not be the captain of this team. Barkov should not be the captain of this team. The fact, and it's funny because I think while this trade for Tkachuk was something that needed to be done, I think it's also going to end up showing that Barkov looks like the fourth or fifth best player on our team right now. And I think that by Tkachuk coming here is going to show to the management team that maybe we do look into trading for Barkov. I'm just saying. I love the kid. Obviously, he's our homegrown. We drafted him. I get all that. But I really do think that there is quite a bit we would get for him. And obviously, of course, freeing up cap space. And, you know, I think it's another one of those risks. I really do. The man stays pretty healthy, don't get me wrong. But, man, what we could probably get for him and also have room to breathe in the sense of cap, that's a tough pill to swallow. I know, I get it. I've thought about it for a while. But I really think that a potential trade for Barkov, I think it's something that we should look into. I really do. I'll put it this way. I think we should at least be taking phone calls. I think we should. I don't think we should pull a trigger on anything right now, but I think we should be taking phone calls. And don't be surprised if by the end of this year, if I'm not correct. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. I'll play this video and this part over again and with the date on it, okay? You know, I'll be honest with you. I think Barkov looks stronger this year. You could definitely tell he's been in the gym, getting his strength. You know, I see his strength up against the boards. It definitely looks better. But man, this kid loses the puck so easily, so easily. This kid just tries to finesse everybody. And if we had another Tkachuk, we'd be chilling. We would be chilling. And you could probably get Barkov. You could get another Tkachuk and a top defenseman for Barkov. You know, I won't go into detail about that, but I'm just saying, like, you could get a lot for him. I think more than Huberdeau. You know, guy almost put up 40 goals last year. Don't get me wrong. I get it. But what I'm trying to tell you is that there's a bigger picture with this. And I think the bigger picture is his play style, the fact that he's a captain when he's not a captain. Okay, he's quiet. That's not your captain. That's not your captain. But I won't go into any more of it, but all I'm saying is I think that if I'm Bill Zitto and somebody's calling about Barkov, I'm at least listening. All right, so let's start to wrap this up here. Panthers are now 3-1-1. They did get a point there. which is good. Obviously, didn't want to go out not getting a point. Panthers are still second in the division at the time of this recording, right? They got 7 points. So that 1 point is definitely crucial. There's still a game up against Buffalo, Detroit, Montreal, and Toronto. Tampa Bay goes to 2-3 on the season with 4 points. So obviously still in last place, which is good. Keep them down there, but got to make sure that we're still getting those points a game. So, all right. So next game is the Islanders this Sunday at 5 p.m. Little side note, I actually might try and go to this game, but looking forward to watching this game. Right after that game, we got the Dolphins Sunday night, which is awesome. So a little back-to-back bang-bang right there. So, obviously Sunday I'll be definitely tuned in. Once again, don't forget to follow us on social media. If you're watching from YouTube, drop a comment down below. Like the video. Let me know what you think about everything we talked about today. If you're coming over from the Apple podcast, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening. If you are interested, though, I do have us up in Apple Podcasts. Once again, Miami in Action. On Twitter, Miami in Action. Instagram, Miami.in.action. And then obviously over here on YouTube. Alrighty, y'all. That's going to do it for me. I appreciate you all. I'll see you Sunday. Let's go Panthers. Later.